agent sent me out, and I won. Actually, one of the first jobs I went on was for, you remember Sybil with Sally Field, right. Okay, one of her alter egos, one of the crazy, crying, hysterical alter egos as a child, I read for that, and I freaked the people out. They were like, oh my God, this little girl cries and screams and goes, exorcist. And so from that one audition for Sybil, I got a lot of attention from the casting community. Then my next audition was for a show called Family with Christy McNichol. Anybody remember? Yeah. Okay. So I did a 2-part episode playing a girl named Alice Dennison, who was a little bitch who picked on Buddy because over the same boy. And they said, there's one prerequisite, can you ride a skateboard? I said, yes, I can. I totally lied. I had never been on a skateboard, but I knew I nailed the audition. And at this point, I'm very young. I'm only 13. Went home on Friday night, skateboarded all Friday night, all Saturday night, all Sunday night, went to school on Monday, and I got the job. Wow. And I got the note from my parents. So that was the first official thing. Now I have a SAG card. Second audition 2 months later is for General Hospital. And Charlene Tilton was up for the role. Do you know Charlene Tilton? Okay. And Charlene is a very beautiful girl, and at that age, she was very gorgeous. And so I wasn't doing that. You totally read that. I wasn't. Anyways, the prerequisite for getting Laura was you had to be under 5'3", which I was because Denise Alexander was 5'4", so I could go on this audition. But the network really wanted Charlene Tilton because she was so beautiful. And there were some machinations with the casting people to not put us on tape or to not send it all the way to New York because they wanted to push me through because they liked me. So actually, I ended up, what, honey? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to embarrass you. Anyways, they pushed me through, and I got the job. And I remember sitting on the bleachers at lunch hour on Friday, thinking I would have known by lunch hour. And I just sat on the bleachers and I cried next to my best friend, thinking I got passed over. I go to algebra class. There's a summons note. Miss Winfield, my algebra teacher, calls me up and gives me the card. It says, "You got the job. Work starts Friday." And I was like, "Can I tell my friend Elise?" And she said yes. And I went running down the hall, and I told my best friend, and we were like, and we celebrated. Anyways, from that point on, I started with a 1 to 1.5 show a week guarantee, meaning 1 episode or 2. They quickly moved me up to 2. I was very hot to prove myself as an actress, and really based that character on, what I knew about her is that she'd been tossed from home to home, Barbara Vining, Leslie, and based that character on my own need to be loved and my own yearning to belong, and focused on the relationship with Leslie. That's really what gave birth to the Laura thing. Desperately, she goes from home to home. She doesn't know who her parents are. She's desperate to find one person to love. But she set us up nicely for Luke and Laura. So anyway, that's the long answer. Yes?
What was your absolute favorite storyline throughout General Hospital's history?
My absolute favorite storyline throughout General Hospital's history would have to be the left-handed boy. I think that was unbelievably exciting. It was the first year. It's the classic Luke and Laura year. I love Beecher's Corners.
The square dancing.
The square dancing. I mean, there's so many things about it that I just, and that ridiculous wig.
I hated that wig.
I know. I'd have to go with that. I'd have to say that was really a classic year for me. That was a good question. Thank you. Yes.
Actually, 2 different questions.
Yes.
The first one was, besides Anthony Geary,
Yeah.
what other co-stars are your favorite to work with?
On General Hospital, which was my favorite people to work with.
Yeah.
Well, Denise Alexander. To this day, when I watch myself on television or even a talk show, I see myself doing mannerisms that are Denise. I was so young. Denise imprinted on me. Denise gave me a little thing for my 16th birthday. It's a little angel standing on a cloud, kind of like a little Cupid doll. And I wore it all my life. And now my daughter, who's 13, actually on Sunday, I gave it to her 2 years ago because she started doing local theater. And I told her it was two actresses wore it before, and now it was hers. And she takes such good care of that necklace, and she wears it every time she's on stage, and she panics if she doesn't have it. Like, I gotta go home and get the necklace. I gotta get it. So, anyways, Denise would definitely be one of my favorites to work with.
Ken Schreiner.
Ken Schreiner, I adore because we laugh like crazy. You know, he's so silly, and he never knows his lines. It is both frustrating and fun at the same time. It was great working with Tristan Rogers. I adored him. From the old days. I loved Lou Dressler. Does anybody remember Lou Dressler, who played the housekeeper? Remember Mrs. Weber's housekeeper? Heather's mother.
Oh, yes. Oh, of course.
Alice
Weber's
Grant.
mother.
Yeah.
Yes.
How about
Yeah.
Rick Moses?
Rick Moses was great. He was definitely fun to be with. You know, it was a great group of people. I always loved working with Rachel Ames, who,
Audrey.
yes, Audrey.
Yeah.
She was great to me. Loved working with, you know, our wonderful patriarch before we lost him, John Baradino, who taught me how to hit a baseball. Yes, me, from a pro. There were a lot of people there for me at that time in my life. I was a little kid. You know, this was like another family for me in many ways. I still call Michael Gregory, who played Rick at the time, I still call him Dad. He still calls me daughter. Denise Alexander had a little crisis in my life a little bit ago, and I called her up after not having spoken to her for about 5 years, and I said, I'm not doing so well. She said, I'll be there in 10 minutes. So these people are, you know, I love these people, and I always will. Another question? You can ask a question. I would so love to answer your question. Who is what?
You like Star Trek?
Do I like Star Trek? You know what? I love Star Trek. I love the original, the one with William Shatner, you know?
Yeah.
I grew up on that. And then the weirdest thing is that I married a Star Trek guy. How weird is that? You know Commander Riker with the beard? Dude, do you know him? You know Commander Riker? Riker. He has an action figure. That's my husband. Yes, little one, what do you want to know?
Do you like Star Trek music too?
What's the Star Trek theme song?
The Star Trek tape songs?
Music.
Oh, the theme song. Yes, I do like the theme song. I like it very much. Yes.
Kind of like back the flip side of, you know, you said the family of people that were there for you at GH when you were growing up. Well,
Yeah.
to take that then to the other generation, when Jonathan Jackson was there, and okay, now that he's come back and we can see him as the adult Lucky, I feel like I can see parts of you and Tony in him.
Oh, that's so nice.
You know, however that meshes. How can you talk about, you know, how you maybe imprinted him?
Okay. Laura is talking about how when she watches, what's my son's name?
Lucky.
Jonathan Jackson. When she watches Jonathan Jackson, she sees parts of me and Tony, which that is thrilling to me that you say that. I mean, I hope I imprinted on him. I took it upon myself because when I looked at this little boy, he had such a natural, strong talent. What I did every day with that boy is make him own it. Is I tried to make him understand that he was just as good as me, just as important as me,